Hello there, it's Jay here from Jay's Vintage Junk, and today for the first time this year I've actually managed to go and go to a car boot sale. I got in the skip this morning. That's what I've affectionately called that old banger that I've been lumped with, that I've ended up with. Anyway, I got in the skip this morning and thought I'd go out and do a bit of car booting. I went to one in Glossop, which is a town a few miles away from me. But there was nothing there, so not to be too disheartened, I thought, oh sod it, I'll throw a fiver in the car, and I took a trip up to Chelford. That's about 25 miles, perhaps nearly 30 miles away from where I live, but it is quite a nice big car boot sale. It's actually very, very close to where Jodrell Bank Radio Telescope is. It's literally like the next village along from there. But they have a big car boot sale on some farmers' fields, and it is quite good usually. Anyway, I spent a couple of hours there. I didn't have a lot of money with me, but I picked up a few little curios, and I thought we'd go through them now. Most of them are in this bag, but I'll get the bag out of the way and I'll show you the first thing that I picked up, and that was this. Now, what we've got here is basically, it's a chart recorder. Now, this was on the floor in front of someone's stall, and I thought, oh, is that an old dot matrix printer? Now, I've got a couple of dot matrix printers, but I thought, oh well, it's black, it looks quite interesting, I'll get down and have a look at it. So as I got a bit closer to it, I thought, hang on, this doesn't look like a dot matrix or even an inkjet printer. And the woman behind the stall said, I've been asking everyone all morning and no one's told me yet. I don't suppose you've got any idea what that thing is? And I said, yes, I think it's a chart recorder. And I explained basically how the pen works on it and how it draws along here. And it's got variable timing on the paper feed. It really is quite a fancy unit. And the next thing she asked me was whether I'd give her £2 for it. So I quickly got £2 out of my pocket, and it became mine. So I've not even tried to power it up or anything. Apparently, she said when you put power to it, you can make squiggles appear on the paper. So yeah, it is a chart recorder. I suppose there's nothing to stop us plugging it in and see if it releases the magic smoke. It does look. I mean, it's one of them things that I was not going out to actually look for a chart recorder. I actually have a couple of chart recorders, much smaller ones than this. It's just, it was £2, and I'm sure if I hadn't have bought it, it would have probably ended up going to landfill. But let me plug it in. I think I've got a spare socket around here somewhere. Yeah, I've got one here. We can try it on. So we'll plug it in and we'll see what happens. And no, I haven't tried it already. Not gone bang anyway. But switch it on. Can't seem to get it to do anything, but it's certainly not gone pop or anything. Something to play with, I think. Definitely something to possibly play with when I've got some more time. Well, like I said, it was only £2. It doesn't seem to be doing anything at the moment, but basically you've got your pen on the end there, and this paper's meant to move forwards, and the pen obviously can track. It's probably dried up actually, but the pen can track along like that, and obviously it leaves your line on the paper. Oh, well, like that. Yeah, it does seem to have some life in it. I'll play with it at a later date anyway. But one interesting thing I have noticed, that's actually metal, the top on it. It says it could be quite useful this for like charting voltages. Maximum 250 volts on the input, and it actually has an input up there just for positive and negative. It's got a times 100 setting on it there, millivolts and volts, 0. I'll have to get a manual for this thing. It actually looks like it might be quite an interesting unit to play with. I'm sure it cost quite a few pounds when it was new as well. I'll switch it off now. But yeah, so I picked that up, and I'm sure there'll be a chart drive. It even has a DIN. It even has a DIN connector on the back here. Actually, with the pin out on it. Chart drive. We've got reverse stop, pulse, EXT, and I presume that's enable. Yeah, so it looks like it's quite easy to drive this thing. Definitely is quite an interesting unit. Like I said, I'll have to see if I can get some more data on it and actually see if we can get this thing doing something. It'd be very nice for plotting like valve characteristics or something like that. If I had a valve tester that can actually take a plotter, I'm sure that would actually work with it. So I'm actually quite pleased at getting that for £2. Right, let's get that out of the way and we can have a look through the bag of other stuff that I've got. Let's just shift that out of the way for now. Ooh. It's not all vintage or electronic in here. I just let's see what we've got to start with. We've got a good mix actually. Let's have a yeah. Something from my boat. Now these are actually really rather expensive to buy. This isn't a boat one. Oh, where's the other bit of it? There's another bit of it in here. That's the bit that goes on the that's the bit that goes on the pipe. Basically, at the moment, my boat isn't actually got running water on board. It does have a water tank, which I got from an old caravan that was being demolished, and a pump and everything. And I've got a really crappy plastic caravan water faucet. This has got a micro switch in it and everything, but it is really cheap and nasty and plasticky, and it's not something I really wanted to put on my boat. So I spotted this on the car boot. In fact, it was the same stall that I bought that chart recorder off. And what this is designed for is a cocktail bar. It's little. It would go on your cocktail bar and allow you just to have running water on a little cocktail bar. But what I thought, obviously, I can't use the tap part of it there because I need an electrical connection to be able to run my pump. But what I thought is I can have either a little switch on the wall on the side next to the sink there, or even what I was thinking was a foot switch. If I can put it in a position where it's not going to get tripped, perhaps something that you just press on the kickboard of the little vanity sink unit that will activate the pump, and we can actually have that on the side of the sink. It's just a bit nicer than the really cheap plasticky thing. So that, I mean, I don't need that part. That's the part which would tap onto a standard copper pipe to give you your water feed for it. So I don't need that bit. It was more that I was interested in. And like I said, they're expensive things to buy these. But I paid £1 for it. So like I said, well pleased with that as well. So that was £1 well spent. Then, what else have we got in the... oh, we've got something nice and... something from my childhood, because I remember I must have had loads of these when I was a kid, when I was in scouts and cubs and things like that. And that's, I think I've got 2 of them in here. Where's the other one gone? Ah, there's the little one. Dropping stuff on the floor that I didn't want to drop on the floor. At least it weren't the really good thing that I wanted to show you that I dropped on the floor. It was a slightly less good thing, but nevertheless, a couple of now they're not vintage. Like I say, I remember these being sold when I was a little kid. In fact, there used to be a stall that come on our local market. I think that one might be a bit older. That one might be a tiny little. I don't know. It's still cheapy. But that one particular, I actually remember the pattern on the handle here with the palm trees and the dinosaur. Basically, you've got and what looked like possibly like alien spacecraft flying in the distance, but it's a slightly trippy psychedelic grip on it. Like I say, it's like got palm trees, And then as you come further along, there seems to be like a flying saucer in the sky there, and a dinosaur underneath. Most interesting. Look at that. I'm sure either I had one or my friend had exactly this torch when I was about 7 or 8 years old. When we was in Cubs, and they take two D-cell batteries. Ooh. Yeah, this is. I'm sure it was the one that I had, and my friend had one that was similar. You have a, it's rather stiff, and it was always stiff. This even when they were new. Basically, you got a ring on the back so you could hang them up. But they took. I've not even looked inside this to see how corroded it is actually, but oh, it's a little bit corroded inside, but it's not horrendous. It'll certainly clean up enough to work. It takes two D-cell batteries, which I haven't actually got at the moment. Or have I got some downstairs? Just a minute, actually. I might have some D-cell batteries downstairs. Let me just. I'll pause the video and I'll go and have a quick look. Alright, back in a sec. There we go. I'm back, and I found some D-cells. Sadly, I couldn't find any C-cells, so we can't test that one. I'll have to get a couple of C-cells for that. But I've got two brand new D-cells there, so we can at least see if this one works. Let's give it a try. I do like these old torches. And just type of thing of, you know, keeping the Land Rover on my boat. And they do have a very 70s 70s look. I mean, the ones I had obviously were 1980s ones, but I'm not that old. But very much the same type of thing was sold in probably in the 60s and 70s. Certainly these. I mean, this is. It doesn't. Does it say, mate? Where does it say? Made in China. Yeah. So it's made in China. Let's see if it works. Oh. Perhaps it needs a new. Perhaps it needs a new bulb in it, because they're brand new batteries and we're not getting any. What's the bulb's a bit loose? Ah, there we go. The bulb was just a little bit loose. That's actually pretty bright for one of these crappy torches. That's not bad at all. Well, that'll certainly come in useful. Nice, and you can change the beam on them by spinning them around like that, from a like a defocused beam to a really tight little spot beam. So definitely, definitely good that for. Oh yeah, I'll show you the other one. And so sadly we can't try this one because I haven't got any C-size batteries, but it's very much the same thing, just in a C-size rather than a D-size. Let's have a look inside. Again, there's a tiny little bit of corrosion in there, but I don't think I can really show it on the camera. Don't know if you can make that out or not. Oops, that way. Don't know if you can see in there or not. The tiniest little bit of corrosion down at the bottom, but it really is not severe at all. Good precise thing. Switch is nice. Signal button. Again, it's got the variable. It's pretty much a very similar torch to the bigger one there. The bulb's nice and tight in that one. I was thinking about possibly converting these to LED, but I don't know now. Certainly, I don't think I'll touch that one. This one, with its size, it does kind of give itself to putting an 18650 in there, put a USB on the back there, and a decent, like, you know, 5-watt LED in there, and it would be a very nice, very bright little torch. I may have a look at that one, possibly doing an LED conversion on it. That is the one that I remember as a kid. Like I said, I'm sure I either had that exact one or my friend had that exact one. Because I remember this strange dinosaur with the with like alien spaceship above it. So yeah, oh yeah, what did I pay for them? Those they really broke the bank then. They were 20p each, so 40p for the pair. Right, let's hopefully this didn't get damaged. Oh no. Right, the next thing is, now I've wanted one of these for some time, but I've only ever seen them out at, like, you know, radio collectors fairs and stuff like that, and they've always been a little bit more than I've really wanted to pay. But this is a Avo Minor. Basically, anyone that remembers the big Avo meters, like the Avo 7 and the Avo 8. I mean, I've got both. I've got an Avo 7 and I've got an Avo 8. This was their little brother. This was basically, of the day, it was like your toolbox pocket meter. It's quite basic. All you've got on it is you've got an AC volts setting, and you've got a DC and ohms, so it's got resistance and it can measure AC and DC voltage, and that's really it. That's really all these are for. A little bit of I don't know what that on the bottom is. I do need to have a look at this. Like I said, it was exactly as I've got it. I don't know whether it works. It's a tiny little bit bashed up. It's got a little bit of the bakelite broken away there, but it's actually, given its age, it's what, 1950s, possibly 1960s. It's actually in very, very nice condition. The meter movement's lovely and free. In fact, I wonder if we could just grab a couple of leads and just see if we can at least get the meter to move on it. I've got some old batteries here. That'll be flat, I think. I've got another 1.5 volt battery there. In fact, I've got some other meters. I mean, I collect little vintage Bakelite analog meters. I have quite a few of them. In fact, I've got some on my shelf here. I wonder if I've got some leads I could just try just to see if this thing will at least kick. Let's grab my selection here. This is just a few of the ones I've got. Oops, and I've got some leads as well. Oh, this is part of my my analog meter collection. That's a Pifco. You see, that's a very basic just voltmeter, Pifco voltmeter. And these are Ferranti meters. I do rather like some of the Ferranti stuff. Again, that's not really that's not got any clips that we can use with it anyway. But that again is just a very basic battery test meter, really, for your old accumulator batteries and like 12 volt car batteries. There may be some leads in here we can use. No, they're not. I've got the leads here. They're very, very crusty, but basically that is Ferranti's version of that. It's a very similar type of thing, a little pocket meter. It does exactly the same. You've got AC volts, you've got DC volts, you've got ohms on it. This actually has milliamps on it, which this doesn't have an amp range on it. But like I said, a very similar kind of thing, but this has got this wonderful wooden little presentation case, and actually these are the tools we're going to use are the tools from this. But it comes, you know, like little tweezers, little probes and all sorts. It's rather a cool little unit, that. But we can borrow its very, very, very rotten leads. These do need, I need to get some cloth covered cable really and redo these, because the as you can see, the rubber on them's it's turned solid. But what, like I said, they'll do for us just doing a quick test, because they should actually plug into this. So we've got a common negative there. I think we've just about got a connection there. Plug that. Are these going to fit? No. Oh, that's a shame. I was hoping these connections would actually fit this meter, but no, they're too big. We'll put them away and we'll see if we can just fudge something just to see if the meter's going to actually... let's put them back in there. I think that's why I've left these cables out, because of that. Ah, no, it does shut. I'll get them out of the shop. What have we got that we can just do a quick test with? I think they're going to be too big as well, aren't they? Yes, they are. Let's have a look at my other tester. See if we can borrow the leads off that. Yes. I think we can probably do something. Bit of a fudge, but we'll fudge something up so we can just quickly see if the meter will move. Right. I've got the leads off my modern test meter, and what we'll do is we'll use them the wrong way around because we can shove that in there to get a connection. Right, let's have a look here. So volts, so let's put 5 volts. We'll set that to DC volts, and we'll just see if we can get a kick off the meter. It should move about so far up if this thing's going to work. We're not getting very good connections, unfortunately, because of the way we've got it. Oh, look at that! You see it move then? I'm going to zoom you in so you can actually have a look. That way. Right, there you go. I'll move that way a bit. Okay, I've just got the battery. But there, can you see? What's that reading? That's reading bob on. That's reading 1.5 volts, and this is a fairly decent new battery. Well, that's good. So we can prove that at least the meter moves all right. Let's just let's see what we can do about ohms, DC and ohms. So I presume it's the other side we've got to go in. So let's try. See if we can get. There you go. It's going to need a battery, isn't it, to provide that? I wonder what kind of battery it needs. Let's have a quick look. And obviously, I'm going to have to make some proper leads up for it. But it's nice to at least see that the meter seems happy on it, and that was reading quite nice and accurately there. Let's have a look on the back. I mean, this is great. We've got the full instructions for your use and everything. Type H. I wonder if this might be a no, it hasn't got an arrow on it. I was wondering with Type H, it's got a reference whether it could be a military version, because all these AVOs, there was basically a civilian version and a military version of them as well. My AVO 7, it's a panclimactic, which means it's been tropicized for use in tropical environments. That one's an ex-military meter that I've got. Important warning: to prevent damage to the instrument, see that the switch and red wander plug are at suitable points before connecting, as in don't blow it up. Let's have a quick look inside. Right, well, it's got a rather manky battery wedged in it. I wonder what. I'm going to take that out because there's a lot of corrosion down there. Let's have a look what this is. It's a NiCad, 1.2 volt. It looks a little bit leaky as well by the look of it. And we've got some corrosion down there. I need to find out what voltage this actual thing's meant to run on. I won't try and clean that off now, but that's going to need some cleaning there, and obviously crunched up silver foil isn't original. I will take that battery out. I presume it's going to be as flat as a pancake, but it's just a standard 1.2 volt. We'll find out what voltage this thing actually needs proper, and we'll take it from there on that respect. It's missing a couple of its little feet as well, these little rubber standoffs. Might be able to either make or find something to replace them. We've got one on that side, but they're missing. But I'm not too worried about that. I mean, it's got some age to it, this thing. I'm not 100%. Like I said, I think they started making these in either the very, very late 1940s or the early 50s. And I'm pretty sure they made them up until sometime in the 1960s. So like I said, I'm not 100% sure on age on this one. I could possibly find it out. I'll have to do some more research on it. But I'm really happy to actually finally have one of these little AVO miners in my collection. And again, price. What did I pay for my? I'll just zoom you out again so we can get ready for the next. Ooh, that's the wrong way. For to the next thing. What did I pay for this? Again, I paid the princely sum of £3. And now, where I've normally seen these on vintage, you know, like vintage radio fairs, stuff like that, they're usually asking £10 to £20 for them, which for something I just want as a shelf piece that I'll use every now and again, maybe, because it is a nice analogue meter. It was a bit more than I really wanted to pay for one, so I'm super happy to get one cheap. So £3, I really can't complain. I think it's a nice addition to my little small test meter collection. Right, next thing, and this is something you've seen a number of times, because I do, you know, I've done videos about them before, but when I saw this one, I couldn't say no, really. And that was, got another one of them, which is the little quick shot like arcade stick. And the idea of this is it's a 2-player stick. Unfortunately, on this one, someone has cut one of the cables off it, and that actually is one of the reasons why I got it at half what she initially asked me for it. But yeah, it's designed for use on the Master System, the Mega Drive, but it'll work on Amiga, C64, anything like that, really. So there's a video I did last year of me converting one of these into a USB stick for use with vintage emulators, mostly for use with a Sega Mega Drive emulator. So these are compatible with the Mega Drive and the Master System. I must admit, when I first saw it, the first thing I thought about was that little MyPad that I'm planning to do something with. I thought, can I just build the MyPad straight into this? Especially with the fact that it had one of the wires cut off, I thought, could I build the MyPad into it and have the MyPad on player 2 and then have the standard cable as player 1, so you could still use it as a standard joystick, or you could flick it to player 2 and basically you'd flick it to player 2 and you'd have your own little games console with all the games built in and everything, and be able to do it that way. I don't know, it was just an idea. The woman wanted £2 for it. I pointed out that the cable had been cut off it and offered her £1 for it, and she said, yes, I'll take £1 for it. So either way, no matter what I do with it, I'm not really lost out. You know, like I said, it was £1. I haven't decided. I may still go with the way I was thinking with that MyPad and build it into that wooden box. I haven't made any progress on that, with basically the fact that all my woodworking stuff is just under too much crap at the moment for me to really be able to dig anything out. I'm doing lots of tidying and sorting at the moment, and they're not really accessible. I thought they would be before now, but other things have got in the way. Anyway, so it may end up, I might get another of them MyPads. They're only like £3. I don't know, but I couldn't let that go at £1, so I grabbed that. And then we've got the very interesting thing that I picked up, actually from the same seller I got this from. And that, ooh, where is it now? I think that's the last thing in the bag. Yeah, that is that. What we've got here, this is a Super Wildcard. It's an SWC3201DX. Basically what this is a 1990s piracy device for the Super Nintendo. I actually remember someone that I knew at high school had one of these things. I'm not sure, I think their dad got it for them from someone that he knew, and I know it came from abroad. Basically you had every single game you could possibly want back at the time. This was in about 93, 94, around, probably about 93. I think he had just about every possible game you could ever get for the Super Nintendo, because his brother worked in a video rental shop that also rented out Super Nintendo games. What you did with one of these is basically this plugged into the top of your Super Nintendo, You put your game in there, then on the side we've got a 3.5-inch floppy drive. What this allowed you to do was to back up, in inverted commas, your Super Nintendo cartridge. Depending on the size, would depend on the number of actual floppy disks you needed for the game, but it basically allowed you to back up the ROM off the cartridge onto floppy disks, and then you could load the game back up off the disks back into this and play it on the Super Nintendo without actually having the original cartridge present. I think they were pretty illegal. Like I said, I don't know where my friends. Well, it was an acquaintance more than a friend. I don't know where his dad got it from, but I know that apparently it came from abroad. I've not seen one. I've only ever seen like videos about them and stuff like that since then. Out in the wild on a car boot sale is not actually the type of place I would expect to find something like this. It's a little bit of a rarity. eBay is the type of place that I've actually spotted these in the past and what have you. Yeah, so only thing is, I suppose I better actually repair a Super Nintendo now so I can actually test this thing and see if I can get it working. I have got a Super Nintendo I picked up late last year, very cheap. It's just the Super Nintendo, there's no accessories or anything with it. I have got a controller in that big lot of controllers I picked up cheap, so I do know I've got a controller for one. And I've also got a box somewhere of some broken just bits of Super Nintendo, like motherboards with bits already robbed off them. So hopefully out of them bits I can actually get a working Super Nintendo together, and once we've done that we could possibly actually see what we can do with this thing. So like I say, it was a bit of a thing that I thought, ooh, I'll have that. And price, because bear in mind I've seen these sell for quite a chunk on eBay. Actually usually in slightly better condition to this. It has got its door missing. And in fact every one of these I've ever seen has been like a light grey, kind of like Super Nintendo-y type colour. I've never ever seen a black one before. What did I pay for it? This, she wouldn't come down on price. I'm pretty sure she kind of had an inkling it was something a bit unusual. But I paid 10 quid for it. Being that anything with a floppy drive that looks slightly vintage, you do tend to kind of like pay a bit of a premium for. But I was quite happy to pay 10 quid for it, just for something to really play with in the future. So that's interesting. Komai, so I don't know if that's serial or parallel. I'll have to do some more research on this. Like I say, I've not really done any research on it. It's just I saw it, I knew what it was, and the opportunity was there, so I grabbed it. Anyway, that was the last thing in the lot that I picked up today. So I didn't exactly break the bank, but I think I got some rather cool little bits and bats to play about with, and some stuff that we can do some future videos on. So I'm going to leave it there for now. Like I say, I hope you enjoyed that little show and tell. So thanks for watching and goodbye.